Tonight, a Call 7 investigation raises questions of ethics about the top Republican candidate for governor.
Scott McInnis was paid $300,000 to write articles for a private foundation. Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia discovered parts of a major article were apparently plagiarized. John?
Yeah, Mike, the McInnis campaign admits his actions were regrettable and inappropriate. We've uncovered a number of striking similarities in large portions of the paper. Our investigation questions just how much was really McInnis's work. This newspaper, Colorado Water Rights, published by the Colorado Water Congress, carried this article in 1984 written by now Colorado Supreme Court Justice Greg Hobbs. Take a look at this technical quote from his article on water rights. The subdistrict asserted that because of the CBT, project had anticipated 310,000 acre-feet of annual. Now take a look at McInnis's article written in 2007. The subdistrict asserted that the original CBT anticipated diversions of the 310,000 acre-feet per year. Or how about this from Justice Hobbs' article in 1984? Green Mountain Reservoir has a decreed priority date of August 1935 for 154,645 acre-feet of storage and 1,726 CFS for power production. And this from McInnis in 2007 that included a numerical error. Green Mountain has a date of August 1935 for 154,645 acre-feet of storage and 1,126 CFS for power. Now, the McInnis campaign is clearly embarrassed tonight. Spokesman Sean Duffy blamed a research advisor, a longtime water rights expert, who he claimed provided McInnis with the content. And we couldn't reach that researcher for comment. Justice Hobbs should have been cited, Duffy told me this evening. It is regrettable. It is inappropriate. Duffy says McInnis is now checking other articles where the researcher provided content. He said he didn't know if there were similar problems with other articles. It was work for the final draft, Duffy said. I don't know if it was published.
Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia talked to Scott McInnis, asking whether or not he's truly taking responsibility.
I had staff assistants, I had research, and as you know, the research, that's where the problem is here.
But you edited them.
Well, I edited them, but I didn't run them through a check to see if they, from our expert, Rollie, he's an expert in water, 3-4 decades. So I took what he'd said at face value.
McInnis claims that without his knowledge, his staff expert, a former engineer of the Colorado River Water Conservation District, lifted much of what was written from this 1984 article by now Colorado Supreme Court Justice Greg Hobbs. But I think it's important for people to know whether you wrote these or you edited them.
Well, obviously, writing, it went into my name. I'll just put it that way, it went into my name. I didn't write every word. Rollie contributed to it.
How much did you write?
It's like, I don't
half of them?
No.
Not half of them?
No, I don't know the answer to your question there.
And McInnis claims the whole issue is simply politics.
The jabs and the reason you're sitting here and so on and so forth, of course it's driven by politics.
Do you believe that questions about plagiarism and intellectual dishonesty is politics? Or do you think that's something that should be addressed?
No, obviously it's being addressed. I'm telling you, I acknowledge the mistake. The research was faulty to the extent that it was not properly footnoted.
The Hassan Foundation says it has initiated an internal independent investigation and may demand that Scott McInnis return at least some of the money he was paid by their organization.
We begin with a bombshell in Colorado's governor's race, and it's all because of a Call 7 investigation.
New calls today for Republican frontrunner Scott McInnis to actually step out of the race. And Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia is here now. John, you spoke exclusively with the researcher who's actually at the heart of the plagiarism controversy that you've reported, and that he wants to clear his name now.
That's right, Bertha, he does. Rollie Fisher is his name. He's been a friend and supporter of Scott McInnis for more than 40 years and says he began writing articles for McInnis initially as a favor. Now he's angry and feels betrayed by the candidate for governor who says he's trying to avoid responsibility.
I think it's wrong.
Hurt you?
Sure. Well, yeah.
Hurt Tilly?
Oh, you betcha. Sure. No, it is hurtful. And No, that's really it.
To 82-year-old Rollie Fisher and his wife Tilly, a good reputation is paramount. He is known as an expert on Colorado water issues, and when his longtime family friend, Scott McInnis, asked him to write a few articles on the issue, he thought he was helping him get more informed on a very important political issue, at a time when he thought McInnis might run for Senate.
I had this sophomoric assumption that he wanted them for his own inventory.
Which for his own background.
Well, sure.
Yeah. Did you know that these were to be published somewhere?
Oh, absolutely not. This was a private communication between Scott and me.
So Fisher says there was never an issue of attributing information because he thought it was background information for his friend.
And I would not have had the expertise to do a proper job on preparing a document for publication.
That wasn't your job.
No.
He didn't ask you to do that.
Oh, no. He asked me to go ahead and prepare individual articles for him.
And if he had known his article involving the work of now Colorado Supreme Court Justice Gregory Hobbs might be published, he says he would have done more than just attributing the work to him.
I'd have gone seen Greg.
Personally.
Personally.
And told him.
Oh, yeah. No, I would have asked permission. Huh?
Did you know these were for his work for the foundation?
No.
You had no idea.
I had no idea about that. I had no real idea, and I did not inquire what he was going to do with that stuff.
Nor, Fisher says, did he know that the Hassan Family Foundation was paying Scott McInnis $300,000 for talks and about 20 articles written by Rollie. And when he recently found out,
I'd say surprised, not jealous.
You said you paid Rollie. How much did you pay him?
Well, that's between Rollie and I don't discuss staff salaries.
Were you on his staff?
Not his staff. Hell no.
it is no wonder Scott McInnis didn't want to talk about it.
The first batch was $100 a month.
Fisher said that was for one article a month, and the price eventually went up to a few $100s for each article.
Wasn't big money.
No, it was not big money, but certainly it was something.
So Rollie and his wife were stunned when what he thought were private papers for McInnis were suddenly at the center of a plagiarism scandal, and Scott McInnis was blaming him.
But I didn't run them through a check to see if they. I mean, from our expert, who Rollie, he's an expert in water, 3-4 decades. So I took what he'd said at face value.
Did it surprise you when Scott McInnis laid it off on you?
Absolutely.
I mean, what'd you think?
He's bigger than that.
But yesterday, his hurt and disappointment turned to anger when McInnis sent him this pre-written letter of apology to be signed by Fisher so that he would take the fall. It states in part, "The mistake is solely my own, and I recognize that my work fell short."
So he wants you to take full responsibility?
Yes.
What do you think of that?
I think it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
And in the end, to Rollie Fisher, it's all about integrity. So there is one question everyone wants answered.
Rollie, is Scott McInnis lying to us?
You make it very difficult, don't you?
Just a simple question.
Oh, yeah, it's a simple question. Yes. Longtime friend who has gotten himself into this kind of a box. You know, he's smarter than that. He's absolutely smarter than that.
Fisher says to his knowledge, Scott McInnis wrote none of the articles for the Hassan Foundation. He believes he simply put his name on Fisher's work and turned it in as his own, but he doesn't know what happened after he turned it over to McInnis. The chief policy researcher and campaign operative from Washington, D.C., and the McInnis campaign field director have resigned. Now, another senior staffer is also leaving to take a key position on another campaign. Sources close to the campaign say these three and several others can no longer defend Scott McInnis's actions after he tried to get this man, 82-year-old Rollie Fisher, to take the fall for McInnis's mistakes. Now, one knowledgeable source told me that staffers feel betrayed by a man they trusted. He said the turning point in the campaign was the interview with Rollie Fisher. Jaws dropped. They couldn't believe Scott tried to pin it on him. It was game, set, match. It was a crusher. Another major development in this story. McInnis has agreed to repay up to $300,000 to the Hassan Family Foundation that provided him with a paid fellowship to write those articles on state water issues. Now, in this exclusive interview with Dr. Malik Hassan, he says Scott McInnis cannot be trusted.
Did you get what you paid for?
No, not even a fraction.
Yeah.
And even what we got, later on we found out that somebody else has done that job, and basically that somebody has copied from somebody else.
Yeah.
It's like a joke.
Dr. Malik Hassan says he is angry with and disappointed in Scott McInnis. In a written statement, McInnis says he apologized to the Hassans for this mistake, and he said he will be in contact with the Hassan family to make full payment arrangements.
I certainly would not characterize the whole conduct honest.
Was it dishonest?
Yes.
The candidate has been in a political firestorm since our exclusive interview with retired water engineer Rollie Fisher, who McInnis hired to write water articles for him.
Did he do the work?
No, I did it.
Yet McInnis put his name on the work and turned it in to the foundation as original. When we uncovered that parts of the articles were plagiarized from other sources, McInnis blamed Fisher, his longtime family friend.
Did you know that these were to be published somewhere?
Oh, absolutely not. This was a private communication between Scott and me.
That's not fair to Mr. Fisher.
It's not Rollie Fisher's fault.
No.
In a scathing indictment of McInnis, an internal foundation investigation charged that the work McInnis completed was only a fraction of the work he was obligated to perform under the terms of his fellowship. Of the little work he did, he has admitted it was neither fully completed by him nor fully original. The foundation demands he repay all monies paid to him under the fellowship.
From your experience with Scott McInnis, would he make a good governor?
Well, if you are old-fashioned like me, who believe that integrity is the cornerstone of any public trust, and if somebody has shown lack of integrity, they basically are giving a message to the public that they can't be trusted.
And Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia caught up with McInnis at a campaign event today. John?
Well, and Scott McInnis simply would not answer questions about the articles he turned into the Hassan Family Foundation and for which he was paid $300,000, nor would he talk about why he accused his 82-year-old friend, Rollie Fisher, of plagiarism. Instead, he seemed to raise more questions about why he's hedging. Did you write the articles or did Rollie write them?
No, it was a collaboration.
Did he do the work?
No, I did it.
After all this, you're not going to tell me you wrote these articles?
I'm telling you, after all of this, the buck stops with me, and that's where it stopped.
Did you write them or didn't you?
The buck stops with me.
Okay.
Did you know that he was going to put his name on this and turn it in?
No, I did not know, certainly at the time, I did not know that he intended to submit that as his personal work.
Did you tell Rollie you were going to put your name on these articles and turn them in?
Again, the buck stops with me. We told our side of the story.
You're not going to answer that question?
We've accepted full responsibility.
But full responsibility clearly doesn't include explaining why he told the Hassan Family Foundation that the articles he got from Rollie Fisher were his own original work. Dr. Malik Hassan says that is simply dishonest.
If you are old-fashioned like me, who believe that integrity is the cornerstone of any public trust, and if somebody has shown lack of integrity, they basically are giving a message to the public that they can't be trusted.
Rollie, is Scott McInnis lying to us?
You make it very difficult, don't you?
Just a simple question.
Oh, yeah, it's a simple question. Yes.
Rollie said that you lied. Do you agree with him?
It doesn't matter. I take responsibility.
Okay. That's right. Scott McInnis says it doesn't matter. And what about his longtime family friend, who he accused of plagiarism?
It's my mistake.
But you blamed Rollie for it.
It's my mistake.
But do you still blame him?
It's my mistake. It's my mistake.
Now, it seems clear that Scott McInnis has made a calculated judgment that to answer more questions directly could get him into more trouble.
The race was very close. You can see, take a look right there in the Republican primary for governor. Mays had about 51% of the votes. He had just a little more than 5,300 votes over former Congressman Scott